by its scale and dramatic setting. Craning his neck, the Marquis saw, on every side, lofty summits, all bristling with redoubts and batteries. Chateauneuf was obliged to dismount and methodically scan the scene through his telescope, the only method of acquiring a knowledge of the whole of the fortifications with which this important post is surrounded. While the eastern bank was dominated by two heights, each crowned by a squat, square redoubt, the main defenses clustered on the western side of the Hudson. There, from the fort of West Point proper, which is on the edge of the river, to the very top of the mountain at the foot of which it stands, are 6 different forts, all in the form of an amphitheater, and protecting each other. Providing the Continental Army with both a last-ditch rallying point and a secure supply depot, West Point's stone and timber defenses exploited the rugged terrain of the Hudson Highlands. These heavily weathered, yet still daunting, remnants of ancient crystalline mountains rise like a great wall some 40 miles above Manhattan, extending northwards in a broad mass 25 miles deep. They include peaks looming up to 1,200 feet above the waters of the Hudson. When he first saw the Highlands in 1778, military surgeon James Thatcher struggled for words to do justice to their stupendous magnitude. That task was better suited to the pen of the poet and the pencil of the painter, he believed, an observation that anticipated by half a century the artists of what became known as the Hudson River School, who portrayed the region's landscape in a picturesque and romantic light, striving to capture for posterity an idyllic vision of nature in an age of increasing industrialization. For all their scenic grandeur, during the Revolutionary War, the Hudson Highlands posed a major barrier to the movement of armies. In the opinion of Baron Ludwig von Closen, a young Bavarian-born officer in the French army, this chain of mountains constituted a zone through which it was impossible for a man and even less for troops to pass. As late as the 1920s, its valleys still sheltered the isolated cabins of reclusive mountain folk who were only rarely glimpsed by strangers. But as Dr. Thatcher emphasized, even this inaccessible terrain of rocky cliffs and venerable forests was not impenetrable. The broad Hudson River cut clean through the whole confused mass like a vast canal. If the Hudson was a canal, then West Point functioned like a lock gate. A key component in its defensive system was the Great Chain that spanned the river, physically blocking the passage to hostile shipping. Fixed to large blocks on either bank and covered by gun batteries on both sides, the massive wrought iron chain was supported on logs and fronted by a floating wooden barrier or boom. Major General William Heath, who served 2 stints as West Point's commander between 1779 and 1781, considered the chain a marvel of engineering. Its effectiveness was enhanced by the peculiar configuration of the Hudson at West Point. The sharp bend there, described by von Closen as a very considerable elbow, almost turning back on itself, meaning that even a ship sailing upriver with a strong following wind would lose momentum in changing course to round the point. By the time a vessel recovered headway, General Heath noted with approval, she would be up against the chain itself, and all the while under a heavy shower of shot and shells. Contemplating West Point's extensive fortifications in September 1780, James Thatcher expressed a popular opinion when he concluded that provided they were properly guarded, they might bid defiance to an army of 20,000 men. There was the rub. For all its multiple defenses, the forts, redoubts, batteries, chain, and boom, West Point was worthless without a resolute garrison prepared to fight to the death against all comers. Ever since West Point's first establishment, George Washington had feared that the Crown forces massed in and around New York City might make a sudden lunge up the Hudson against the fortress.